What if the most important lessons about love were the ones we had to learn the hard way? What if so much of what we've been told is actually setting us up to fail? That's what we're talking about today. So let's get real about what we actually learned. I remember sitting in health class, and the entire conversation about relationships was reduced to biology and fear. It was all about anatomy, prevention, and worst-case scenarios. We got a textbook chapter on the reproductive system and a stern lecture on what not to do. They were hyper-focused on teaching us how to avoid things. Avoid disease, avoid pregnancy. But they never taught us how to build something. How to foster connection, how to be vulnerable, or how to recognize the difference between a fleeting crush and a foundation for a real partner. We learned about the chemistry of hormones, but nothing about the character it takes to be a good, committed person. It's like we were given a manual on how to avoid crashing a car, but no one ever taught us how to actually drive it, how to read the map, or what to do if the engine starts making a funny noise. We walked out with a diploma in one hand and zero tools for handling heartbreak, communicating our needs, or building a partnership that lasts. We were set up to believe that if we just avoided the bad stuff, the good stuff would magically happen. And for a lot of us, that was a recipe for learning some really painful lessons the hard way. Truth number 1. Love is a verb, not just a feeling. This leads us to the first and maybe most important truth we have to unlearn. That love is a feeling you just fall into and then get to live inside of forever. We're sold this idea that it's a permanent state of euphoria, this magical force that once you find it, it just carries you along. But that's the biggest myth of all. The real, gritty, beautiful truth is that love is not a noun. It's a verb. It's not a thing you have, it's a thing you do. It's an action, and more importantly, it's a choice you make over and over again, every single day. Think about that initial spark, that feeling of being in love. It's incredible, right? It's butterflies and can't sleep and thinking about them all the time. That feeling is the gift, the beautiful kindling that starts the fire. But kindling burns out quickly. You cannot sustain a relationship on that initial rush alone. What builds a life with someone isn't the spark, it's the million tiny, often mundane, actions that come after. It's making them a cup of coffee in the morning without them asking because you know they're not a person until they've had it. It's truly listening to them vent about a terrible day at work, even when you're tired and your own brain is fried, and choosing to be present instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. It's biting your tongue when you're frustrated and choosing a kind word instead of a cutting remark. It's showing up for the boring Tuesday nights, the stressful family gatherings, and the times when you're both just exhausted and have nothing glamorous to offer each other. That's the building process. We say we find love like it's a finished product sitting on a shelf, waiting for us. But you don't find it, you build it. You are the architect and the construction worker, laying one brick at a time through your consistent actions. And this is crucial because that initial feeling will fade. It's biologically designed to. The butterflies calm down. The obsession quiets. And that's not a sign that something is wrong or that you're with the wrong person. It's a sign that it's time for the real thing to begin. That's when your choices take over. When the euphoria isn't there to motivate you, you have to choose to act with love anyway. You have to choose patience, you have to choose kindness, you have to choose forgiveness. It's in those moments, when you don't feel like it but you do it anyway, that you're actually building the strongest, most resilient kind of love. The feeling is the beautiful, flimsy map you start with. The action is you actually making the journey, one deliberate step at a time. Truth number 2. You must love yourself first. This next truth is one we hear all the time, so much that it can sound like a hollow cliché, but that's only because we haven't been taught what it actually means. We're fed this idea that we're all just lonely halves searching for our other half to feel whole. We're told to look for someone to complete us. And I have to be honest, that idea, as romantic as it sounds, is one of the most damaging and dysfunctional beliefs we can carry into a relationship. It sets the stage perfectly for codependency, where your entire sense of worth and emotional stability is outsourced to another person. It makes their presence your oxygen, and that is an unbearable weight for anyone to carry. The real, practical truth is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't have a fundamental sense of self-worth and self-love, you enter the dating world from a place of lack, of neediness. And that neediness acts like a magnet. It either attracts people who see that vulnerability and reflect that same lack of self-worth back at you, often leading to unhealthy or even toxic dynamics, or it attracts a good person who you then place an impossible burden upon. You silently hand them a job application for the position of my source of happiness and expect them to fix your insecurities, heal your past wounds, and constantly reassure you of your value. That is a job no one can succeed at, and it will exhaust even the most loving partner. It's like asking someone to build you a house when you haven't given them a foundation to build on. So what does loving yourself first actually look like if it's not just a bumper sticker? It's not about being arrogantly perfect or having your entire life totally figured out. It's about building a life that you genuinely enjoy and are proud of on your own. It's about cultivating your own interests, your own friendships, and your own sense of purpose that exists independently of a romantic partner. It's about becoming the CEO of your own happiness. It's learning to validate yourself, to comfort yourself after a bad day, and to celebrate your own wins. When you do that hard work, a massive shift happens. You stop looking for a completer and start looking for a complement. A partner is no longer the foundation of your life. They are a wonderful, beautiful addition to an already solid and complete structure. You come together not from a place of need, but from a place of want. You choose each other not because you need to be filled up, but because you have so much to share. That is the space where healthy, sustainable love can actually grow. Truth number 3, conflict is inevitable and healthy. If there's one thing our cultural script gets dangerously wrong, it's the role of conflict in love. We're shown these dramatic, cinematic fights that either end with a passionate make-up session or a door slam that signifies the end forever. This conditions us to believe that disagreement is a catastrophe, a sign that something is fundamentally broken. We learn to fear it, avoid it, or see it as a reason to walk away. But the reality is the complete opposite. Conflict isn't a sign of a bad relationship. It's the undeniable proof of a real one. It's the natural and inevitable result of two separate, whole human beings with their own unique histories, perspectives, and needs choosing to merge their lives together. Think about it. You are two different people. You were raised in different homes, you have different emotional triggers, different ways of handling stress, and different communication styles. The idea that you would never clash is a fantasy. The goal of a healthy relationship can never be to avoid conflict. That's an impossible standard that just leads to resentment, silent treatments, and walking on eggshells. The real goal, the skill we were never taught, is to learn how to navigate conflict with respect, to transform it from a destructive force into a constructive one. It's about building a framework for disagreement that actually brings you closer rather than tearing you apart. So what does that framework look like? It starts with a fundamental shift in mindset. Healthy conflict is not a battle to be won, it's a problem to be solved together. You are not opponents, you are teammates on the same side, and the problem is the opponent. This means attacking the issue, not the person's character. It's the difference between saying, "You are so irresponsible for forgetting to pay the bill," and "I feel anxious when the bills are late because I worry about late fees." How can we create a system so this doesn't happen again? It requires listening to understand their perspective and their underlying need, not just listening to pause so you can reload your own argument. It's about getting curious, not furious. When you can do this, conflict stops being something to fear. It becomes your most powerful tool for intimacy. It's how you learn about each other's inner worlds, how you heal old wounds together, and how you negotiate the ongoing merger of your lives. You aren't breaking the relationship by arguing. You are literally building it, strengthening its foundations one respectful disagreement at a time. The cracks aren't signs of damage. They're where the light gets in, and where you grow stronger together. Truth number 4. Love is about partnership, not possession. So much of the love we see portrayed around us is framed in the language of ownership and obsession. We hear songs about being owned, and movies where jealousy is portrayed as a flattering sign of how much someone cares. We're taught that love is about claiming someone as mine, as if they are a prize to be won and then kept. This possessive mindset is one of the most corrosive forces in relationships because it comes from a place of fear and insecurity, not love. The truth is, real love is not about ownership. It's about a conscious, daily choice to be partners. A partnership recognizes that you are two whole, autonomous individuals who are choosing to walk the same path together. You aren't two halves becoming one. You are two complete ones choosing to become a strong, unified team. This means you support each other's individual goals and dreams, even when they don't directly benefit you. It means you celebrate their successes as your own, not as a threat to your time together. It's understanding that your partner's happiness is not your sole responsibility, but that you are a dedicated ally in their pursuit of it. True love means looking at your partner and genuinely wanting the best for them, for their own sake. It means wanting them to grow, to thrive, and to feel fulfilled, even if that growth sometimes happens in a direction that stretches you or requires you to hold down the fort alone for a while. This isn't always easy. It requires immense security and selflessness, but it is the bedrock of a healthy bond. Love that is rooted in freedom and trust is empowering. It allows both people to become the best versions of themselves. A love based on possession is a cage. It might feel safe for a moment, but it ultimately stifles the spirit. A love based on partnership is like a vast, open field where you can both run freely, knowing you have a home base in each other. Truth number 5. The spark fades, and that's okay. Perhaps the most anxiety-inducing experience in a long-term relationship is the moment you realize that intense, euphoric, can't keep your hands off each other feeling has begun to quiet down. We're taught to panic in this moment, to believe that the love is dying or that we've chosen the wrong person. We call it losing the spark, as if it's a tragic failure. But what if that's not a failure at all? What if it's a necessary and beautiful evolution? That initial high, what psychologists call limerence, is a potent chemical cocktail designed by nature to bring us together. But it's biologically unsustainable. It's meant to last just long enough to form a bond before it gracefully bows out. Expecting to feel that specific brand of obsessive euphoria forever is like expecting to feel the adrenaline of a first kiss every single time you kiss for the rest of your life. It sets an impossible standard that leaves you perpetually disappointed and wondering if the grass is greener somewhere else. The incredible news is that what emerges after that initial spark fades is infinitely more valuable and profound. That dizzying high is replaced by a deep, steady, and unwavering warmth. The frantic butterflies settle into a profound sense of peace and security. You trade passion for intimacy, which is the feeling of being truly known, seen, and accepted for who you are, not just for the idealized version you presented at the beginning. This is the love that sits with you in silence without needing to fill the space. It's the love that shows up with soup when you're sick and remembers to call your mother on her birthday. It's less like a dazzling, short-lived firework and more like the hearth in a home, a constant, reliable source of warmth and comfort that you can always return to. This doesn't mean the passion dies. It just means it's no longer the primary fuel. You keep the embers glowing through intentionality, by continuing to date each other, by trying new things together to create novelty, and by making a conscious effort to connect physically and emotionally. The work isn't in desperately trying to recapture the first stage, but in joyfully building the next, deeper, more resilient one. You're not losing anything, you're gaining everything. So here it is, the curriculum we never got. The real syllabus for love tells us that it's a verb, a conscious choice we make through our actions every single day. It requires that we do the work to build a foundation of self-love first. It asks us to reframe conflict not as a threat, but as an inevitable and healthy pathway to deeper intimacy. It demands a partnership of two whole individuals, not a possession of two halves. And it promises that the quiet, steady warmth of lasting connection is far more beautiful and sustaining than the fleeting high of the initial spark. And while we've been talking about romantic love, please know that these truths are the bedrock of every meaningful connection in our lives. They apply to the friendships we nurture, the family bonds we navigate, and most importantly, to the ongoing relationship we have with ourselves. This is about how we choose to show up for the people we care about and for our own lives. The first, most crucial step is to consciously unlearn the fairy tale. To recognize that those stories set us up for a reality they never prepared us for. Letting go of that fantasy isn't cynical. It's the necessary groundwork for building something genuine, resilient, and truly beautiful. I truly believe we learn best from each other. So I'd love to know, what's one truth about love you had to learn the hard way? What was your biggest wake-up call? Please share your lesson in the comments below. Let's make this a conversation and learn from each other's experiences. If this resonated with you, if it felt like a conversation you wish we'd had sooner, then hit that like button, it really helps. And subscribe for more honest talks about the things we never got to learn in school. For more insights and conversations like this, you can also find me on Instagram/TikTok, your handle. Thank you so much for watching.